Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for our 17th race of the second season of the NCAA Duracell Cup Series, continuing on the chase towards the chase for the championship. We are here today at the Kansas Speedway, getting ready for the run of the Hollywood Resorts and Casinos 400. Going to be 54 laps of racing here today, and as I cast my memory back, this racetrack, at least the version that we ran last year, brought about some very interesting racing because the high line was OP against the inside line, and it was actually Mitchell Collins using that outside line, getting around Jay Jefferson on the final lap. I believe it was out of turn 4 on the final lap to take the checkered flag. Well, Collins lines up on the pole for today's race, so we'll see just exactly what Mitchell Collins is going to be able to do from the front of the field. I'm trying to remember back to where Collins qualified for last year's race, and I don't think it was up near the front. As I look real quickly here, Collins started last year's race from the 39th position and worked his way all the way up to take the checkered flag. So we'll see if someone can work their way from the back to the front here in this one, or if it will come down to good starting track position. Alongside of him is Ryan Butcher. Ryan Butcher now riding a 1+ season winless streak. Last week at the Pensacola, no, it wasn't Pensacola Road Course. Actually, it was 2 weeks ago. At Pensacola Road Course was his last victory, and so right now he is over a season long in his winless streak. That's right, because last week we were at Dover, the Monster Mile, and with the aid of a very timely for some, untimely for others, yellow flag, Johnny Gardner was able to pick up his first career Duracell Cup Series victory, and as a consequence, he jumped up 10 spots in the standings to 23rd, so right now Johnny Gardner would be in possession of a playoff spot. But let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports, and get these cars rolling here today at the Kansas Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines.
So as the pace car leads the field off on the right side of your screen, we will show you your starting lineup, and your point standings coming into today's race got jumbled up a little bit after Dover last week. Matt McIntyre still remains the points leader, and he has extended his points lead now to 21 points over new second-place driver in the standings. That's two-time winner Carson Gum. Carter Friesen jumped up from 6th to 3rd in points coming to this race. Jordan Lopez dropped to 4th, and Mitchell Collins, who struggled last week at Dover, he is right now in 5th. Ryan Acosta, who was up atop the point standings 2 weeks ago, has now dropped to 6th. Benjamin Miles, our Charlotte winner, is 7th. Zach Rogers in 8th. Dylan Young in 9th. And Trey Wright has now popped back up into the top 10. 81 points separate 1st back through 10th. As far as who's in the playoffs, who's not right now, your grid would currently look like this. Carson Gum would have the tie for the number 1 seed with 2 wins along with Michael Norman. Norman's 29th in points coming to this one, though. He needs a good run here today. Other drivers currently in the playoffs with wins are Matt McIntyre, Jordan Lopez, Benjamin Miles, Dylan Young, Trey Wright, Ryan Brommer, Cole Baker, Johnny Gardner. Right now, 10 drivers in via wins. We'll give you the other 6 drivers via points in just a moment as we're ready to go racing here at Kansas. Let's roll! And already a battle for the lead. Jose Mills going to the inside of Mitchell Collins. Jose Mills finished 3rd here 1 year ago. I noticed a number of drivers had good qualifying results that finished top 5 here last year. Collins, who won, Mills, who finished 3rd, and Kyle Matthews, you can see down there that inside line, he qualified, it was up inside the top 10. He finished 5th here last year. Collins, though, on that outside line, you can see the outside line prevailed. He will lead the first lap. Marcus Sachi will move to the outside for 2nd on Jose Mills. So 10 drivers currently inside the top 30 in points with wins. They would be in the 10 first playoff positions. 6 drivers right now would be in via points as the caution flag is out for the first time today. Right now, those 6 drivers that would be in via points would be Carter Friesen, Mitchell Collins, Ryan Acosta, Zach Rogers, Derek Hamill, and Austin LaPlante, as Collins will lead us under our first caution of the day. Not surprised to see an early yellow. Sometimes these drivers force it 3 wide, and sometimes it doesn't work, and we nearly had a wreck right there between Butcher, Batson, McIntyre, and Matthews. But fortunately, they were able to keep it straight and not wreck each other, as Collins will lead us under caution. Let's see who is involved in this one, and it will involve Adam Garcia in the 12. So one of the Young Motorsports cars out in front Another one out of the race already, and I saw Ryan Acosta's on pit road. The downhill slump continues for that 10 team. Rookie Alexander Rowe has got some damage as well as Seth Cole ahead of him. Jack Mitchell's got rear end damage also on the back of his McDonald Chevrolet. Now Alexander Rowe, this is not what he needed because remember we did not mention him as far as drivers that are locked in to the playoffs with a win inside the top 30 in points because he's 36th in the standings coming into this one. As a matter of fact, four former winners, I should say, come into this race outside the top 30 in points. Jose Mills, 32nd. Kyle Matthews, 35th. Alexander Rowe, 36th. And Wyatt Quayle in 39th. So they all needed good runs here today. And it looks like Alexander Rowe evidently did not get his day started off the way he was hoping, as nobody came to pit road under this caution, at least for the leaders. So obviously the fuel window is not open for these drivers to make it the rest of the way, so they're going to stay out, keep their track position. And as Mitchell Collins leads us under our first caution of the day, let's go back and take a look at a replay of what happened. Well, it is legal to use the apron on the front straightaway, and both Alexander Rowe and Jack Mitchell did just that. I saw Jesse Turner get the wall there. I thought maybe Rowe or Mitchell were making a move down low to avoid maybe a stack up, but no. They both went down right literally almost into the grass. Their lefts were almost touching the grass in the infield. And then watch as they try and merge back up. Now, when you go down there, you're responsible for a safe merge back up into traffic, and Mitchell did not do that. He realized that Benny Watson was there, then goes low to try and, give room, and he and Alexander Rowe find themselves on the apron going into turn one. And there you see nowhere for these guys to go. Seth Cole, Ryan Acosta, Adam Garcia, as well as Levi McIntyre getting a piece. I think maybe, just maybe, these two, Rowe and Mitchell, just established for everybody, might not want to go down there on the apron on the front straightaway because looks like it's not going to give you a very good entry into turn one. You're probably going to take yourself and a number of other drivers out with you. So that is what brought out the caution for the first time here today. Tough break there for Seth Cole, 17th in points. Adam Garcia coming into this race 24th in the standings, so both of them had a shot to get into the playoffs with a win. That evidently won't be happening here. And of course, Ryan Acosta, a big heartbreak for him as well because, like we mentioned, about 3 weeks ago, he was the points leader in the overall standings, and then after 2 weeks of racing at Pensacola Road Course and Dover, he finds himself 6th in points and looks like he will drop even further as he is still running but currently trapped 1 lap down. 1 to green has been given here. Mitchell Collins, the race leader, he will have Ryan Acosta to the inside line to have to deal with. So that'll probably cause a little bit of a stack up through the field depending on how well these lead lap cars can get around his wounded Camry. Second place is rookie Marcus Sacchi. Now we mentioned for Marcus Sacchi's teammate Derek Hamill, he right now would be in a playoff spot via points. Marcus Sacchi's 21st in points. So still looking for his first win of the season. His teammate Carson Gunn's been to victory lane twice already this year. Jose Mills lines up 3rd. Daytona 500 winner Cole Baker 4th. 5th is Ryan Butcher. Keith Batson 6th. Matt McIntyre, the points leader, is 7th. Kyle Matthews 8th. 9th is Vince Almariego, and Carson Gunn right now is going to complete your top 10. After the incident, we do have 1 car out of the race. That is Adam Garcia. And you see 1 lap down is Ryan Acosta. So the 39 cars still running. 38 of them on the lead lap. Green flag set to come back out here on lap number 7. Now, I do remember that last year when Mitchell Collins passed Jay Jefferson out of turn 4 in the final lap, we went into a long green flag run in the closing stages of the race. As far as cautions went, we had only 2 cautions in that race. 27 lead changes among 14 drivers. So hopefully we're in for a race very similar to that here today. As Collins leads the way, I want to just drop back, make sure these drivers are being able to get around the 10 of Ryan Acosta. You can see he is holding up some drivers there. Jordan Lopez, Benjamin Miles, Johnny Gardner, Derek Hamill on that inside line, all getting held up as the outside line is flying around them. Ryan's just trying to find a line to get out of the way. Looks like he may be successful here. They're going to be 3 wide behind him, though. That's what I was a little worried about because, remember, it was 3 wide situations that caused drivers to run the apron on the front straightaway, and that's what caused our first caution. Oh, my goodness, we're going to be 4 wide. We were almost 4 wide. That was close. Who was that? Was that Trey Wright that made the move there 4 wide to get by Ryan Acosta? That was a gutsy move. And that could have been very costly if that had not ended the way it did. 3 wide up here. Carson Gum on the bottom. Kyle Matthews in the middle. Matt McIntyre way up on the top side. As up front, battle for second. Cole Baker trying to get to the inside of Marcus Sacchi. Can't do it. Now, we mentioned about drivers outside of the top 30 in points, and we also mentioned about Michael Norman. 2-time winner, 29th in the points coming into this race. He needs a good run to get away from that danger zone. As we've got a battle for the lead on our hands. Marcus Sacchi to the inside of Mitchell Collins. Cole Baker was down on the bottom with the fellow Chevrolet Camaro. Now he's going to stay down there with him. Let's see if they can get that inside line going with 2 cars against 1. This is also bringing Jose Mills up into the conversation. And if these guys continue to battle, that's going to bring 5th and 6th and 7th and all those others back up here. 3 wide for the lead. Baker way down to the bottom. Does not get the run off the corner. But Collins and Marcus Sacchi will continue the battle to the line. It will be Collins leading the lap on the top side. Well, that was a block and a half right there. Jose Mills blocking the advance of Keith Batson. Batson looking for his first win since Richmond of last year. Then you got Matt McIntyre right there in the 7. He won at Texas earlier on this season in that photo finish with Jose Mills. Looking for his second win on the year. And we mentioned about Ryan Butcher. He's right now on a 38-race winless streak since winning last year at the Pensacola Road Course. Cole Baker, look at him jerk the car down there to the left going into turn 1. He'll get to the left rear quarter panel of Collins, but can he get the momentum through the corner and especially off the corner? Doesn't look like it. He'll try and stay to the left rear of the 22 by the time they get into 3. Can't do it. Mitchell Collins continues to hold the position. So this is definitely a far cry from what we saw in last year's race where we saw a lot of lead changes. So far in this race, I think we may have only had 1 lead change. I think that was when Marcus Sacchi just barely got Mitchell Collins at the line at one lap. But Collins has, for the most part, dominated up to this point. Keith Batson, Matt McIntyre, Carson Gum, 3 wide. That is for 4th. Gum has to back out of that battle. It'll now be between McIntyre and Batson. And Batson, look at the run he gets. Not only takes 4th place away from McIntyre, but now swings around Cole Baker for 3rd. If these guys can just stay up there on that outside line, they're going to get really good runs, and that might be the only way you're going to be able to pass for the race lead. There is Kyle Matthews. Now he came into this race, as I mentioned, 35th in the points. He is 14 points. No, I'm sorry, 5th. No, hold on, let me recalculate. 17 points behind 30th in the standings cut line. But he's up here inside the top 10 and 8, so we'll see if the Phoenix winner can work his way back up into the top 30 in the standings. Wanted to find Michael Norman. There he is. Right now he is scored in the 20th position. He came into this race 1 point rather ahead of the 30th in the standings cut line. The driver he had to stay ahead of was Jack Mitchell, and we know Mitchell's got some damage. And so right now Norman might very well have himself a tiny cushion heading into next week. Jose Mills, we know he's running up here inside of the top 10. There he is, battling with Kyle Matthews for the 9th position. Mills came into this race 6 points behind the 30th in the standings cut line, so I think he's probably back into the top 30 in points. So right now, the only driver that really, for the most part, may not be working his way back into the top 30 in points is Alexander Rowe, who got damage from the only caution we've had so far today. Wow, Keith Batson really looked loose there on the top side, and now he's stuck on the outside 3 wide. I thought he was going to actually try and use the outside line to get around Mitchell Collins, but messed up turn 1 there, and that lost him a lot of momentum. There is Alexander Rowe right now on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap in 38th. Ryan Acosta 1 lap down in 39th. They're midway down the back straightaway. The leaders are in the middle of turns 1 and 2. So they will be probably closing in on those 2 drivers pretty shortly. And it will be very interesting to see what happens there, because remember, that outside line is the preferred line. If those slower cars hold the inside line, it's going to wad these guys up, and someone might be able to use those slower cars as a pick to jump to the outside of Mitchell Collins. But Marcus Sacchi continuing to try the low line. Look at Cole Baker taking about a half groove higher into turn 1 to try and get a run on the 22. Wouldn't count out Carson Gum either. Carson Gum coming into this race 21 points back from Matt McIntyre, who's in his rearview mirror right now. Carson Gum, a 2-time winner, would love to be a 3-time winner. A 3-time winner in the 3. These guys keep trying to go to the inside of Mitchell Collins, but Collins has that strong run off turn 2, especially on the outside line. I think he's literally giving these guys the inside line. He says, hey, if you want it, take it. And Baker's going to go for it again. That time through 3 and 4. I don't know if it was just the way that these drivers are having to approach the corner now with the tires wearing down or what, but Collins seemed to be very slow and backed everybody up there through 3 and 4. Oh, look at this. Could the draft work? If Sacchi stays in the back bumper of Baker, they might be able to get the inside line to work here on this lap. Collins back to the throttle sooner right there, center of the corner. And he will not quite clear Baker, as you saw Ryan Acosta come to pit road. Looks like he did not want to be in the way of the race leaders. They are going to be closing up momentarily on the 24 of Alexander Rowe, however. They're just about a straightaway behind him. He was almost at the exit of the backstretch. Leaders were just coming off the exit of turn 2. Now these drivers, their goal is to make it at least to lap 27. That would put them midway through this race, and that would mean they would probably make it the rest of the way. We got a flip on the front straightaway. Caution is out. Keith Batson was involved, and Vince Almriego went for a tumble just past the start-finish line. This is going to make it interesting now, because this caution comes out on lap 24. They'll probably have to pit on lap 25, and that would make it very questionable on whether they can make it on fuel or not the rest of the way, provided we go green the rest of the way. But oh my goodness, what a wild ride for the 42 of Almriego. Caution is obviously out. Looks like we had a follow-up wreck in turn 1. Ryan Butcher is on the apron slow. Boy, I don't know what happened there. I just no sooner looked back behind the leaders and I saw the 42 up and over and on his lid. Well, we're going to stay here with the leaders, see if they're going to come to pit road here. I mean, it's a two-edged sword. Do you stay out, wait until the fuel window opens, and then come to pit lane under green, or do you pit now and maybe not make it the rest of the way on fuel? Mitchell Collins looks like he is going to stay out, so my assumption is he's probably going to come to pit road not too long after we go back green. Austin LaPlante, Dylan Young stay out as well. Looks like Benny Watson's following that strategy. These drivers here, they're coming to pit lane. They're going to have to save to make sure they're going to be able to make it the rest of the way if we do go green the remainder of this race. I would not be surprised if these four here, Collins, LaPlante, Young, and Watson, if they will probably come to pit road just after the green flag drops for the restart to make sure they can make it the rest of the way on fuel. Oh man, I'm really hoping we remain green the rest of the way now, because this could be a very interesting finish here at Kansas. But for now, we're going to go back, see what brought out our second caution of the day at the Kansas Speedway. Battle back here for around the 6th, 7th, and 8th positions. And watch the 78 there of Ryan Butcher. He comes down. I think he was trying to get some side draft off the 42. And he moved down too low, got him in the right rear, sends the 42 of Almriego up into Keith Batson, and then sends him up and over. And I almost wonder if we maybe had some follow-up wrecking going on here with other drivers coming into view, because we had some skid marks over in turn 1. Look at this. Oh my goodness, everyone trying to avoid. Look at Casey Nanico and Michael Norman dive it to the bottom. Oh yeah, Cody Lamas further back got involved. And we'll have to look at that in a moment. Jessica Schulten splitting Vince Almriego, who was flipping, and Ryan Acosta, who was coming off pit road. Man, some evasive maneuvers being done right there. Now, I want to drop back again. I think, was it Keith Batson that was stuck up there in the outside line? He might have been the one that got hit. Either him or Ryan Butcher. Oh, actually, it might have been Butcher. Let's see what happens to him. Because there were a couple of other drivers that had some damage coming to pit road. Cody Lamas was one of them, and I think I saw him when we were watching the 42. I think I saw him get involved further back on the replay screen. Yeah, there he is on the outside line. You can see him coming there, that white machine on the top side. And he tried to get through. There was just nowhere to go. Look at Benny Watson just narrowly avoid. Oh, he got a little hit there in the passenger side door from Cody Lamas. Don't know how much that's going to hurt him. William Brock with a close call there as well. How the heck did we manage to get away with it only being 4 cars involved in this wreck? And Ryan Butcher mentioned that he was still going. That car tried to limp its way back to pit road. I don't know if he managed to or not. But I know before we went back to the replay, he was still over on the back straightaway, still trying to get to pit lane. Wild ride for Vince Almriego as he, Ryan Butcher, Keith Batson get together. Cody Lamas gets a piece of that action as well. And Benny Watson may have a little bit of damage on the passenger side. But remember, he stayed out along with Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, and the race leader, Mitchell Collins. So let's wait to see what develops with that as we go back for the green flag. Green flag set to come back out. It's in the air, and this is going to be very interesting now because Mitchell Collins has still not come to pit road. Cole Baker was the first one to duck onto pit road when the pits were open, so he restarts second. Remember, we had LaPlante and Young and Watson up here at the front. They all came to pit road the second lap around. So Mitchell Collins still has to pit, and he's going to pit now. So he's the only one on the strategy of thinking you have to pit now in order to make it the rest of the way. We'll have to see if that strategy pans out as that turns the race lead over to Cole Baker. And I believe that's the first time today that Mitchell Collins has basically turned the race lead over to anybody. So now the question is, can Baker make it? We should document the drivers out of the race after that wreck. Vince Almriego, Ryan Butcher, and Cody Lamas. So we've got 36 cars still running, 35 of them on the lead lap, and I say that tentatively because Mitchell Collins is probably going to fall a lap down right now as he is on pit road. So Cole Baker leads. Battle on for second. Chevrolet is dominating the top 4 spots right now with Baker, Marcus Sacchi, Carson Gum, and Kyle Matthews. Then you got a gap back here. I think this was because of people wadded up behind Mitchell Collins when he was coming to pit road. Battle is on for 5th between Charles Sanford and Matt McIntyre. And right now, of those drivers that came to pit road on the second lap of caution, the highest running of those right there, Austin LaPlante, currently in the 23rd position. There's Watson and Dylan Young right behind him. So right now, it comes down between Cole Baker, Austin LaPlante, and Mitchell Collins. If Baker can't make it on fuel, then LaPlante would be 1 lap to the good over what Baker can make it, and if LaPlante can't make it on fuel, then I think Collins would be 2 laps to the good over what LaPlante can make. Car in the grass right there, that's William Brock. And he's going to, is he going to make it back on safely? No, he's not. He takes Dylan Young with him. Caution's out again. And that is going to be a tough break for Mitchell Collins, because Collins is now going to be trapped a lap down, and he will more than likely not be able to get his lap back. So what could have been a race-winning strategy with the timing of that yellow is basically going to keep him 1 lap down maybe for the remainder of this race. We're about 20 laps away from the finish. And Dylan Young will be the second driver out of Young Motorsports to retire today. And again, another Young Motorsports car, an innocent victim. Adam Garcia was an innocent victim with the first wreck, and Dylan Young an innocent victim with this one. Undoubtedly, the blame for that one going to be laid at the door of William Brock. Matthew Rodriguez is on pit road along with Alexander Rowe. I wonder if they possibly got together. And Cole Baker hits pit lane again. Johnny Gardner's on pit road. This is interesting. Baker is giving up the lead. Now, he is being able to do this under caution, though, so maybe they didn't get the car completely full of fuel. Maybe they feel these other drivers can't save enough to make it the rest of the way. I don't know. Very interesting strategy going on here. I think maybe when we go back and look and see what happened to Alexander Rowe and Matthew Rodriguez, we might also see Jose Mills have gotten involved, because I just saw Jose Mills get back in line with some left side damage. So Carson Gum, two-time winner, out in front leading this race. Let's go back and see what happened. And based on what we saw with our first caution, when Alexander Rowe and Jack Mitchell went down the apron on the front straightaway, I kind of had a feeling we were going to see the exact same thing take place here. Jordan Lopez getting the wall there off turn 4. William Brock dives it down literally into the grass. I don't understand this. Why do you go to the grass? See, that lost him a lot of momentum too. He gets out of the throttle to be able to keep it straight, but again, like we saw before, you go down there on the apron, it really hurts your entry into turn 1. William Brock's going to get 2 left side tires down below that yellow line, actually all 4 tires down as he actually runs the apron through turn 1. And watch this. Benny Watson has had so many near misses here. This time he gets hit in the driver's side door but keeps it straight, and nowhere for Dylan Young to go. Remember, Dylan Young was on the strategy of those drivers that came to pit road on the second lap of the last caution. And now his day is over, and William Brock, of course, badly damaged as well. 15th in the points coming to this race was Brock. Dylan Young came into this race 9th in points, and both of them suffering damage. Now, I want to find out what happened to Matthew Rodriguez and Alexander Rowe. Okay, there's the 57. This is coming out of 4 to the caution. Watch the 98 of Jose Mills there, that bright blue car in the center. Oh, Matt Rod got into Derek Hamill, who then got into Qualls, who then got into Mills. Mills is going to slide up and hit the outside wall with the driver's side. And then he's going to get another shot there from Hamill. Matt Rod slides up the track there as well. And one of these guys, I think, is going to get plowed by the 24. It might be Matthew Rodriguez. Everybody darts to the bottom to try and avoid. Here comes the 24 of Alexander Rowe, and who is he going to hit? Yep, it's going to be the 57. Right there. Right into the left front with his right front, and Ryan Acosta just skirts by. So a bad day goes worse for the rookie, Alexander Rowe, our Pikes Peak winner. Jose Mills, our Bristol winner. Looks like his day, well, at least his chances of winning are over. Maybe not necessarily his day. And then, of course, as well, Matthew Rodriguez, tough break there for him, as he's been on a bit of a skid as of late. Came into this race 25th in points. Let's go back now for the green and see just exactly whether or not these drivers are still going to be able to make it on fuel or not. Carson Gum set to get us back underway. He'll be the race leader with less than 20 to go. Kyle Matthews second, third Marcus Sacchi. Then it's Matt McIntyre and Zach Rogers, your top 5. Charles Sanford, Ryan Brommer, Benjamin Miles, Jessica Shelton, and Chris Dollerton are now your top 10. So all 3 of the S3 Motorsports Chevrolets are up inside the top 10 all of a sudden. We have another driver a lap down now, joining Ryan Acosta. That was Mitchell Collins, who is up to speed, but he, with the timing of that yellow flag, now trapped a lap down. And after that incident, out of the race, Matthew Rodriguez, Alexander Rowe, and Dylan Young. Carson Gum out in front showing the way, but take a look at this. Kyle Matthews, Zach Rogers trying to get something going on the outside line. You got both the Bulldog Motorsports challengers up here as well. Rogers currently in 4th, and Ryan Brommer back battling for the 7th spot with Benjamin Miles. Big run for Kyle Matthews, and he's going to take it to the bottom. Zach Rogers following in his tire tracks, but I don't think this is going to work. You got to do it on the outside line. You cannot rely on that inside line, because so far it has not worked all day long. How about Michael Norman? We talked about earlier him needing a good run. All of a sudden, he's up in the 12th position. And there's Matt Haas, who avoided near disaster back on the second caution when he almost ran into the back of Cody Lamas when Lamas got into Ryan Butcher. Look at him fan out going into turn 1. 3 wide. Matt McIntyre way up the top side. Sanford on the bottom. Marcus Sacchi stuck in the middle. And Charles Sanford now going to battle with his teammate Kyle Matthews for the third position as Zach Rogers tries to take the lead from Carson Gum. Can't quite do it. He'll get a good run here off of turn 4. Can he get enough straightaway speed? He's got to basically be half a car length ahead of Carson Gum going into turn 1 if he's going to make the pass for the lead. Oh, he might have him. He might have him. Can he move up in front of the 3? Carson Gum's going to battle back, but I think Rogers has him cleared. Wow, first car today to get the inside line to work. Zach Rogers to the front, but Carson Gum crosses him over. And Rogers on the top side's going to clear for the spot. What a move by Zach Rogers, able to get the inside line to work in turns 1 and 2. Now he's the new race leader. And Zach Rogers came into this race 8th in the point standing, so a win would more than likely put him into a playoff position. He hasn't won since Texas of last year. He was a 2-time winner last season. Texas was his second win. His first win was at Pikes Peak, a track that we were at just a few weeks ago. So now Rogers with that Dodge Challenger power out in front. Carson Gum, though, big run here, heading into turn 1. Let's see what he can do with this momentum as Rogers tries to block, couldn't do it. Ooh, looks like Carson Gum got tight there in the center, had to lift. Rogers was much better through that corner. Keeps the top position as they're 3 wide behind him. Sanford, Sacchi, Matthews, this is for third. This is also Brock Carter freezing up into the mix here. Whoa, Kyle Matthews in the wall. Right in front of Matt McIntyre, but he saves it. They all save it. But that just completely killed the momentum of the outside line. We are at 10 laps to go here in this race as now Michael Norman will make it a 3-man fight. That is for, I believe, 4th place. Now tucks back in line. He's in the 6th position right now. Miles in the current 5th position. Charles Sanford going to take 4th. Still the question of these drivers being able to make it on fuel, though. Where's Cole Baker? He's the only one, I think, right now that we know for certain can make it on fuel. He's worked his way up now to the 22nd position. He's hoping these drivers cannot make it. With the aid of the last caution flag, they may have been able to save enough to make it the rest of the way, but again, we do not know for certain. We don't really even know what the exact fuel window is for these drivers because they were closing in on their first round of pit stops when the second caution came out. Carson Gum trying to get the inside line on Rogers again. Let's see if he can keep the momentum this time, though. Last time he wasn't able to. Ooh, he did a little bit better that time. Stayed to the left rear. But now not going to be able to hang on to the spot. Blocks Marcus Sacchi. Got to give a call out there to Marcus Sacchi. Right now, really the only rookie that's been up here inside of the top 10, top 5 for that matter, all day long. Had a very strong race car and has definitely looked like a veteran here today in that 21. Anybody remember 1 week ago? With Zach Rogers and Carson Gum, the battles they had in the first 20 laps of that race? They're renewing it here 1 week later at Kansas. Of course, neither one of them won out on that exchange as both of them got trapped on the tail end of the lead lap, almost a lap down when that late caution came out, and Johnny Gardner, of course, was able to pick up that victory. Uh-oh. Well, I heard an idling engine of Ryan Acosta. I don't know if they're going to catch him before this race is over or not. Next time by, it will be 5 laps to go as the battle is on for second. Marcus Sacchi, Carson Gum, and looks like Sacchi's going to be the loser on that one because Charles Sanford just swung around him for the 3rd position. Here comes that Coke Vanilla Chevrolet. Charles Sanford still looking for his first career Duracell Cup Series victory. We've had 7 drivers get their first Duracell win of their career here this season, with Cole Baker at Daytona, Michael Norman at Springfield, Alexander Rowe at Pikes Peak, Matt McIntyre at Texas, Dylan Young at Darlington, Benjamin Miles at Charlotte, and last week Johnny Gardner at Dover. So Sanford would like to be able to join that list. Got a couple of others up here looking for their first win of their Duracell Cup Series careers as well. Marcus Sachi there in the 21, Matt Haas in the 7. Oh, they are going to catch that 10 car. Question is, which is going to be the problem for them? The slower car or the fuel? Carson Gum, big run on the front straightaway. He's going to dive it to the inside. They are going to catch Ryan Acosta. Where does he go? He stays low. It's going to be right in front of Zach Rogers. Rogers going to have to go to the inside. It's going to hold up the outside line. Ooh, almost contact there between Sanford and Marcus Sachi. And Carson Gum's coming to pit road. Carson Gum can't make it. 2 laps to go here at Kansas. Carson Gum had to pit. Mills, Kukulon, Batson, Shelton, Quayle, Matt Haas, they couldn't make it either. It is going to be a fuel strategy race. Cole Baker's got to be smiling right now, thinking maybe everybody else can't make it on fuel. Will Rogers stay out? He's been out in front for a good portion here, been using up some fuel. He's not coming to pit road. Nobody from this group is coming. The white flag displayed. 1 lap to go for Zach Rogers. Does he have the fuel to make it? He's got a pretty good gap back to second place battle between Sanford, Sachi, and Miles. Slow car up ahead there. Derek Hamill merging back onto the track. Don't know if he's going to catch him or not. Doesn't look like it. Zach Rogers is going to get his 3rd career Duracell Cup Series victory, his first of Season 2. He will take the checkered flag at Kansas. Zach Rogers completes the sweep for the Dodge Challengers. His teammate Ryan Brommer got the win earlier on this season at Sonoma. Rogers gets the win here today at Kansas, and he had enough fuel to make it. Some drivers were able to make it, some were not. And Zach Rogers, 8th in the points, may have very well just put himself into the playoffs as we got some drivers out of fuel here. Sanford and Miles coasting, trying to make it back around. And a great run there for Zach Rogers, who last couple of weeks has been very consistent. 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s this season. Average finishing position of around 16th. As a matter of fact, he has, average finishing position is about 17th, but he has the highest starting average position of anybody inside the top 10. In the point standings, that is. And so Zach Rogers, his 3rd career victory. It's his first of Season 2. And as I stated, this could very well put him into the playoffs with where he is currently positioned in the point standings. Marcus Sachi will undoubtedly get Rookie of the Race. An incredible performance for him as he stayed in the top 10 all day long. He's going to finish the day out in 2nd. And that rookie points battle was actually really close coming into this race. Cody Lamas 1 point over Derek Hamill, 2 points over Sebastian Kukulon, 5 over Marcus Sachi. Sachi will definitely be making up some ground here today as far as the rookie points battle. May make it even closer heading next week. Benjamin Miles, great run for that 33 car as our Charlotte winner is going to finish in 3rd. Charles Sanford will finish the day out in 4th place. And completing your top 5, the points leader Matt McIntyre continues to pull out these consistent runs week after week after week. His teammate Michael Norman will finish in 6th, so Norman will definitely have a nice cushion over 30th in the standings heading into next week's race. Carter Friesen kind of came from out of nowhere to finish in 7th. A solid outing for him. So both he and Carson Gum ended up finishing a lap down because he had to pit. So Carter Friesen could very well have just taken 2nd in the standings away from Carson Gum. Ryan Brommer's going to finish the day out in 8th, so Bulldog Motorsports, both cars finish in the top 10. Kyle Matthews, who was up in the top 5 most of the day, faded back. He'll finish in 9th, though. A great performance for him. This was a well-needed run as he's trying to get himself back in the top 30 in points. And Chris Dollerton, the defending champion, will finish the day out in 10th. Dollerton comes into this race dead last in points, so if this team is going to defend their title, they've got to get good finishes now, and it has to be pretty much more than top 10s. They need top 5s and wins to get themselves back into contention for a playoff position. Austin the Plant will finish the day out with a solid outing of 11th. Johnny Gardner, 1 week after his first career win, battled back for 12th. Benny Watson will finish 13th. He had damage on the right side after contact with, I think it was Keith Batson or Ryan Butcher, and then he had damage on the left side after contact from William Brock. Still managed to get a top 15 run. Trey Wright brings it home in 14th. A great run for him 1 week after cracking back up into the top 10 in points. And Jesse Turner, we never talked about him today. He's going to finish with a solid outing of 15th. Rest of your top 20 were Cole Baker, Levi McIntyre, Jordan Lopez, Jack Mitchell, and Seth Cole. Last car to finish on the lead lap was James Qualls in the 21st position. Mitchell Collins, the timing of that second yellow flag really hurt him. He finishes a lap down after leading a good portion of the first half of this race. And also, drivers that could not make it on fuel finish a lap down: Carson Gum, Matt Haas, Wyatt Quayle, Jessica Shelton, William Brock, Sebastian Kukulon, Keith Batson, Casey Nanico, and Derek Hamill, as well as Jose Mills. They all had to pit with about 2 laps remaining. Ryan Acosta finished 4 laps down, last car to finish the race in 33rd. Everybody else finished out of the race after 3 cautions: Matthew Rodriguez, Alexander Rowe, Dylan Young, Vincent Riego, Ryan Butcher, Cody Lamas, and Adam Garcia. For those DNF drivers, none of them really going to get hurt that much as far as former winners, because Dylan Young came in with a huge cushion, 9th in points in the standings, over 30th in the points, and Alexander Rowe came into this race way back behind 30th in the points, 36th, so this just puts him even deeper into a divot of trying to get back into the top 30 in the standings. But that's going to do it here today from Kansas. Zach Rogers takes the checkered flag in this one, and he becomes, I believe, our 14th different race winner on the season. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Kansas. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We have shown you full feature results, and these are your point standings heading into next week's race as we head to the Chicago Motor Speedway. Not Chicagoland, but Chicago Motor Speedway. That's sure to be a wild one. It was a great race last season, and expecting nothing less here this season. But until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. We'll see you guys next week.